Hello, welcome to the Sacred Garden Yoga channel. I am Cindy Ola. Today is November 19th, 2021, and there's also a lunar eclipse happening today. I am actually in the back of the yoga studio. We do have a garden. The camellias are in bloom, which is my favorite bloom of the year, and it reminds me that the sacred is in everything. It's in the chiming of the wind chimes in the back. It's in the falling of the leaves, which you will probably see and experience here throughout this video. It's in the chirping of the birds, and I figured this would just be a beautiful place to have a chat about the great goddess and the ascended master Quan Yin, the goddess of compassion. We've been walking with the goddesses in the ascension program that I'm doing, and this month our focus has been on Medusa and Quan Yin. Believe it or not, they have more in common than you might think. They both alchemize emotions. Medusa holds the specific energy of rage, but turning that rage into a sacred emotion that helps us to create boundaries for ourselves and to take back our power. Quan Yin also alchemizes pain and suffering, but she turns it into compassion. I was never that attracted to working with Quan Yin before because I had the misconception that she was too soft for me, but it goes to show how deeply wrong I was about that. Compassion, although we consider it a loving and tender emotion, it's actually forged in the flames of deep suffering. I've spoken before how a big, beautiful, fierce dragon came to me when I was working with the energies of Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene. And that dragon was there to teach me the quality of unconditional love that is so pure that it devours and destroys and obliterates the veils of confusion and darkness. Well, the other day I had a vision of this dragon shape-shifting into a more serpentine, Asian-looking type of dragon with these beautiful white luminescent scales. This was Quan Yin's dragon teaching us about how compassion and vulnerability are forged within the flames of leaning into and feeling your pain and suffering instead of fleeing and running from it. Running causes a hardening in our hearts that comes from the fear of facing ourselves and our emotions. Quan Yin works with the mysteries of sacred water, and water is the realm of emotions and of our subconscious. We are 70% water, as is our planet, and water penetrates every part of our being, and it can especially go into the places within ourselves that we don't want to go or that we're afraid to explore. When we delve into our sacred waters, we find pieces of ourselves that we may have forgotten, pieces that we have deemed unworthy, unlovable, or lacking. This watery realm of our subconscious is where we go to find our inner child in its many faces. When you first face your inner child, it can be an extremely uncomfortable experience. You may see him or her wounded, with lacerations and scars, physically, mentally, and emotionally. It's challenging to face those wounds again, thus it takes the bravery of a dragon, which is why so many people choose not to go there. They prefer to stay stuck in their own bondage than to face themselves deeply. And it's not even their demons that they're facing, it's their inner child. The wounds and lacerations were created by a world and people in the midst of great suffering. What Quan Yin is here to remind you of is that you were innocent in the hands of that suffering. The first place to direct the grace of your compassion is towards yourself, and lay down that whip of self-flagellation. Instead, practice holding yourself in great tenderness, and eventually you'll become whole in the relationship that you have with yourself. This is what Quan Yin wants you to know, and that if you need help, you can pray into the sacred waters of your own body. And you can even pray into the water that you ingest each day, asking for it to reveal to you the places that you seek for your restoration. Your inner child is your greatest teacher for learning about the importance and alchemy of your compassion. And when you restore your innocence that was never touched by suffering, Then you can meet others with the same grace of compassion. The shaping of the new world and the golden age begins by changing the narrative from the fear-mongering that comes from hardened hearts. At least we can do our own work and decide that we're not going to contribute to that timeline anymore. Now, I know that opening up to your emotions can be very vulnerable, but it also opens you up to a depth that you can't experience unless you are willing to be fully present with each passing moment. It creates this beautiful, sweet depth when you begin to appreciate how time passes. You realize the passing of time and how precious time is, and then not wanting to take those moments for granted. Well, as I mentioned earlier, we do have a partial lunar eclipse today where the moon is partially being shadowed by the earth. And the lunar eclipses can bring with them endings, turning points, and revelations. They can also help you make big shifts in your consciousness. Since this eclipse in Taurus is kick-starting the eclipse cycle, there will be a total solar eclipse in December. What's happening now will most likely be feeding into a larger story that will continue to unfold out through the new year. The type of shift that you'll be experiencing depends very much on your astrological makeup and what you're going through right now. But if you've been paying attention to your moods or your financial situation or your relationships, you probably have an idea as to where that's going. Prepare for a shift, and I'm pretty confident if you're watching this video today that some Quan Yin energy is going to serve you. Heed the message from Quan Yin and lean into your feelings. It's time to quit running and to shift the relationship that you have with your own emotions and pain. In doing so, it's going to reveal something to you that's going to make all the difference. Lean into yourself and use compassion as a beautiful tool of alchemy to take you to that next level of your great work and to your ascension. With that, wishing you lots of big love and magic. Bye-bye.